to another episode, Sauce So Separately, brought to you by Manila 93. Today's featured guest is none other than music, mogul, author, producer, executive, and multi-platinum and Grammy award-winning producer Drumma Boy.
Big Drum.
My brother.
Hey, man. Listen, man. Thank you for coming, my brother. Actually, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Because I really wanted to come to the Inner Sanctum, you know what I mean? Like, the sauce is always so separately, it don't come on a tray. So, the meaning of our show, of course, as you know, as I've told you about a couple of different times, is, we want to separate, what the culture is drawn to, and the culture meaning globally, the culture meaning all sonics, the culture meaning just across the board. But, the sauce that producers, writers, just creators, executives, they bring a certain sauce to it that allows all these things to kind of, be triple the worth, so to speak. So, yeah, man, thank you for inviting me to the Inner Sanctum, man. That's all I see is a million trillion soul over here, man. It's crazy.
On,
Do you know, listen, I'm going to tell you something maybe you don't even know. Do you know how many songs that you actually produced? Like, do you know?
I don't keep up, I just keep shooting.
Oh, man, I love that. Yo, listen, no bullshit, because I'm going to do my research, but not only you being my brother and me knowing, like, where it comes from, but you actually put out 754 of your works. 754. Let me tell you, it's so crazy. I looked at Rodney Jerkins, right, and he had about 820. And I was like, wow, listen, Drum been in the game half the time. You know what I mean? Like, respectfully, you know what I mean? It's like a Jordan and LeBron effect kind of, right, when it comes in. Not just like Rodney Jerkins in itself, but just points that's put on the board.
Then that ain't even counting the mixtapes, the street shit.
Talk about it.
The early bird,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Faculty,
That's
Trill.
right. That's right.
And,
That's right.
mean?
Like
Just
early days.
Oh, yeah, just buku music that niggas never put out.
But, I think that, but that comes from Memphis too, though. Like, because I thought you come from Memphis. That's like the home of sound, But you coming from Memphis and being in that space, how did it allow you to kind of have an edge on the Sonics?
Coming from Memphis is like gumbo. I would call my music gumbo because we got the church, we got gospel, we got the blues, we got country up the street, Nashville, you got the hip hop,
That's
you got
right.
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You got everything in between, bluegrass and jazz.
Sure.
So, it was just a blessing. And even the orchestra.
Yeah, sure.
Growing up with my pops and whatnot. So,
Yes.
it was just a blessing to just have that.
It's kind of like the je ne sais quoi. I came to the house, salute Mama Drum, because watching her play the piano and actually seeing that lineage of where it comes from and actually being back in Memphis with you and watching that and in her being of the opera. You know what I mean? Her having such a tone, and I'm like, oh, this is where it comes from. This is actually what's in your blood already.
But I was gonna say like just having that big brother.
Yeah, sure, of course, 1,000,000%.
To mix in with everything else, it was just like cheat code.
Well, first and foremost, rest in peace, Pharrell Miles, a.k.a. Insane Wayne. Of course, co-founder of the Drum Squad with Drumma Boy, and one of my best friends as well. He passed away, suddenly a few years ago, but he lives on, and legends live forever. Drumma had a whole album dedicated to him, as well, and it's just like I watched both of them come up in the business. I was managing Wayne, and shadowing Drumma and watching Drumma's rise up, and just it was just meteoric, and it was great to actually be in a space, to share that air. Like me and Wayne had traveled up to New York to work with Kanye, and it was just things that you guys were both working at the same time, and it was just like a glorious synergy. And I remember Che had came to Atlanta. Big shout out Che too from Good Music, and he had seen everybody, Roscoe Dash, Mike Will, all these different producers. And I get a call like a couple of days later, including Wayne, and a couple of days later he said, hey man, Kanye wants you guys to come up and work on a Cruel Summer project. So that's when we ended up going to New York, man. And it was one of many experiences, but that was one of my last amazing experiences with Wayne, and actually see him work, and Mike Dean and all the legends being there and just actually saluting Wayne. Like it just was amazing. He introduced me to Slice T. Slice T, of course, is like, if you guys don't know Slice T, he's like that founder of that sound. Like, where Slice T like really come from sonically, and what has he done? Like,
I don't know where Slice T come from. You know what I mean? But that was Big Bro, one of Big Bro like protege homies, and they was just always in the studio. I was working with just a fly on the wall with a lot of the Tila sessions.
Sure, of course. At Tila early, I'm so tired of balling. I was young, I had just got my license back then, 95, 96, 97.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of balling was like my anthem. You know, my cousin put me onto that at first when I was listening to that shit. I was like, yo, what is this? Because I'm about it. And all those records from, you know, New Orleans and Master P's camp were coming out. And my cousin was pulling up on me and he had the Tila shit playing. And I was like, what is this shit right here? Yeah. Oh, this is a vibe right here. And he left the tape in the deck one day, and I just let it go B-side, A-side, and he just had all smackers. And I was like, that's why I first got really familiar with that sound of Memphis. And,
Tila. So that's where I knew Slice from. I would pull up on my brother, and Slice had a studio on Union. And, you know, every day I'm just learning. I see Slice DJing, you know what I mean? Or maybe he'll be resampling some drums he had, but I'm like, just watching him hit the peak.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like the snare just, bah,
sure.
Like, you know
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about he tweaking it and just trying not to have it distorted, but sampling it at the highest rate. So I learned a lot about sampling, a lot about programming.
Sure.
And just, you know, how to produce an artist.
Respectfully.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was such a fan of Dr. Dre,
yes.
Quick.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The legendaries, you know what I mean? Like being in that space. So, you know, in our era, I should say, you know, you had a lot of great people coming from Memphis in the production space, like Jazzy Faye. You know, he had come to Atlanta as well too. Us getting like really more so, you know, used to listening to that sound. You know what I mean? But how clean a lot of Memphis records sound, it turns into something different because the sound 3 6 Mafia. You know, we named Tila, but we go from Tila 3 6 Mafia all the way up. You know, before we even get the Dolph
and players,
yeah,
to the gangster.
Sure, of course.
You know what I'm saying? And before I let you know, it's the churches and the gospel and the blues and the jazz, and then it kind of went to the pimps and the players, on to the gangsters and the hustlers.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And that's that Ball and G, that 3 6 Mafia, Player Fly.
That's right.
You know, Indo G.
Knowing the history. Yeah.
Even the DJs was going crazy. Spanish Fly, SMK, you know, DJ Zerk. You know, just so much legendary music. DJ Paul, Juicy J. You know, just being inspired by, you know, a sound that made you move. A sound that kind of voided the bullshit that was going on at that particular time in your life. When a certain song come on, tear the club
it's sonic, tear the club up,
What's going on in my real life is about having a moment right now.
Sure, of course.
You know what I mean? And those were things, that's how we made it through the streets. That's how we made it through the city of Memphis.
So I want to skip forward a little bit. Young Dolph, rest in peace, Flipper. Your relationship with Young Dolph would seem like a special one. You know, when I would be around you, I know, you know, you and Dolph would talk on a regular, like real.
Dolph and my brother.
Yeah.
That was like my cousin from you know, extended family. Or, you know, we was married in or something. And his dad and mama, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's just like one of them cousins that's just like, bro, what you got going on?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I met Dolph through Kinfolk Thug.
Okay.
My boy G.
Okay.
You know, G was like, it was crazy because like Kinfolk Thug was at they high. They did the song, "Hey ladies, bag it up and dump it, bag it up and dump it." Was going viral.
And then everybody took the sample and ran with it from there, right?
And now it's going viral. They doing big things, but you know, at that time they was like hot.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm pulling up on them to get them beats.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm over there, G kept telling me, man, like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, you need to get with this nigga Dolph, man. He the next nigga in the city.
Okay, that's how you met Dolph.
Yeah, he kept telling me, G, man, he the next nigga in the city. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, shit, okay, yeah, man, set it up. You know, it's all good, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? And here goes some more beats, woo, woo, woo. So I'm again trying to give beats to Kinfolk Thug. And he like, man, listen, bro, I'm finna have Doc come up here. Da, 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 da. And we was at the studio in Mississippi, like right on the borderline, and on the state line. And I pulled up, and Dolph was listening to some Squeaky beats.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I already seen his relationship with Squeaky.
Okay.
And I was like, man, let me hear something. It's a video on YouTube.
Okay.
I posted it
And
on
they
my Instagram a while back, but it's on YouTube. Drumma Boy, Young Dolph. Okay. First time listening to Dolph ever.
Wow.
And he freestyling for me.
Oh, wow.
And after he got through freestyling, because he had just started.
And he was a fan of yours, like at that point. Yeah, of course.
No, for sure.
But
he had just started, so every rapper I ever worked with, anybody who I ever worked with, I'm always, man, ooh, that's hard, try this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And put a pause and then come back, ooh, and all you gotta do is learn how to do the hook, and you out of here. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
He ain't really, you know,
But
he
song
ain't really
structure.
understand
So you was teaching him song structure and being in that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
speaking of that, you know, because the sauce is sold separately always, it don't come on the tray. That Memphis sauce is different. Now watch how this. I want to move forward a little bit more to, you know, Nicki Minaj, you know, Drake, you know, T.I., Gucci Man, you know, Whitney Houston,
everybody,
you know, like and from the beginning, but being as though going through these certain iconic people who some weren't iconic yet when you actually produced their hit record, the Jeezy, Put On For My City, mind you, take you to a left field, you know, Oscar win. I want to speak about that. I want to also speak about not only, you know, the Grammy Award winning Drumma Boy, but I really want to speak about Drumma Boy the sauce, the Drumma Boy the brand. What allowed Nicki Minaj and August Alsina to No Love, you know, Drumma Boy, new record, R&B side. Like what brought that on? And I want to give that, was it the same feeling as Put On For My City, even though Put On with Jeezy got a Grammy? You know, what was that feeling like? What was that difference in that contrast?
I met Nicki for the first time through Gucci and Auntie Deb.
Okay.
And
Shout out Miss Deb and
they was pulling up to the condo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? From the beginning. So I knew skinny Nicki.
Say that.
Like the beginning Nicki.
Okay.
You know, no work done Nicki.
Okay, say that.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
respect that.
She was
rapping, Nicki, rapping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was hard from the start.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And then we went on to do Slumber Party and a couple other records with Gucci, I can't remember. And next thing I know, I just visually see her as an artist.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then to go to August Alsina's side,
Right.
Squeak. You know, Noonie family.
Sure,
of course. The Noontime family, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, a whole nother
Atlanta
story. That's
from the
right.
beginning,
Yeah.
17,
Shout out
18.
Noonie, Noontime, man.
Yeah.
Early Jazzy Faye, early Noonie, early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole lot that goes in.
Putting
That's
up
early
on
Atlanta.
Polo. Fast forward, I get a call from Squeak. He like, man, Noonie back at it. I like, you know, what you mean? He got an artist? He like, yeah, man, it's R&B this time. You know what I'm saying? Because we did Jody Breeze, you know, we did a couple other projects and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was a youngin' just watching Jazzy pump out record after record.
Of
after
course,
record after
right.
record after
He's
record.
going crazy.
You know, Jonte
Yeah.
Austin.
Jonte
pumping out
Austin,
record after
yeah.
Donnie Scott.
That's right,
Scats,
that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
J-Dub.
Yeah, of
You
course.
know what I mean? Everybody going crazy.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
that is the conveyor belt of Atlanta sauce as well too. Let's be clear, you know, the Brian Michael Coxes, the Jonte Austins, like the people who actually dripped a lot of sauce. And you know, shout out JD, of course, but they dripped a lot of sauce everywhere, and that's what really allowed everybody to run to them as well. And that's why I was speaking to you about, like, you know, you have a Mariah or a Mary that runs for JD sauce. At the time, it was the executives putting the plays together, saying, you know, you would be here and you would be there. So, you know, or that record would move a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, surely should you put Drumma Boy with this record? That's why I want to ask you about. I want to ask you about this though. You know, not only your first placement, but you know, it's a story. You know, about the Shorty record. That's legendary. You know what I mean? Between us, you know what I mean? That we know. If you don't care to share it, as far as like how the record got moved to different artists and ended up where it ended up at.
Oh yeah, Shawty was special, man. You know, that was something that I remember Insane playing for me in my kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just the idea, the core, you know, rough draft.
That's right.
So
that
to speak.
idea, so to speak.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And I was like, man, that's crazy. That sounds like some Drumma Boy shit right there. That's exactly what I said. And I was like, man, let's tweak a few things. And he had another artist that had written to the rough draft out of Nashville.
Okay.
And I was like, man, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I know it.
But let me take this and I put a little worm, and you know what I'm saying, and just like tweak the drums. And I remember getting a phone call from Fiend out the blue.
Okay.
And I was like, man, when Fiend calling me, it's 2 in the morning. I had just got through messing with a chick.
Yeah,
I'm tired,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The bro called me like, man, I need some beats. And I was like, where you at? I'm at S-Line. I was like, oh, okay, you at OG Crib spot. I'll pull up, you know what I'm saying?
S-Line Studios.
Yeah, man. So I pull up the S-Line studio. It's like 2 in the morning. And they going through beats. Fiend, first time meeting Aaron Bay Shook.
Shout out Aaron Bishop too. If y'all guys don't know who Aaron Bishop is, of course, you know, longtime veteran record executive, but also, you know, the CEO of Warner Music Group as well too.
And this the beginning Aaron Bishop. It's like, you know what I mean?
Early Aaron Bishop. This is like
yeah.
this is Cupid Shuffle Aaron Bishop.
This is before that.
This is before that.
Yeah, this is, you know,
But to go to show you where the sauce get dripped around, and the executives in the business of music, because as we continue forward, we'll talk further about the business side of things. But what's
this
really
06,
important.
the record hadn't even come out yet. So it's like 06, we in the lab, and they going through beats, fast forward. 45 minutes go by, and I'm like, bro, it's 2 in the morning. Y'all done called me up here, but I ain't saying that. But in my mind, I'm like, bro, I'm just sitting here.
No, where you at? Called you to the studio.
I'm in S-Line Studio. Aaron Bay Shook going through beats that he's gotten from various submissions.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Fiend, like, just like
just chill.
old type.
Let him
You know
cook.
what I mean? So he's Aaron, like, out the blue, like, man, damn, I forgot Drumma Boy's in here. You know what I'm saying? Plug up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I plug up. I always say you got to get it in 5 beats.
You got to get it in 5 beats.
Of course, I got 30, 40, 50, 100.
Of course.
But I say, you got to get it in 5 beats. You know, you got at least the attention.
The attention.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
they're not feeling that.
Play one, play another one, ooh.
Yeah.
Play another one, You got anything like this? I play the 3rd one, play the 4th one, 5th beat. Stop.
Okay.
Load me up.
Load me up.
You know what I mean?
That right
And he's
there, I
like,
need that.
He sends an email. Maybe it was to Mike Karen.
Okay. Shout out Mike Karen too, APG. Mind you, this is 2006. Go back and educate you a little bit. You know, Mike Karen, APG, legendary, signed a little bit of everybody. NBA Youngboy across the board, sold company for $600 million, still has the publishing. But shout out to him. Great mind, great brain. Continue forward.
Absolutely. So Mike Karen probably sent the beat to T-Pain. So when I'm on T-Pain podcast, he broke down that story and said basically he got a pack from Mike Karen, and he had like 5 beats.
Okay.
You know, I think 2 of them was mine. But he knocked out like 3 hooks.
Okay.
And Shawty was one of them hooks.
See the sauce? They went to paying for the sauce on the melody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Pain sent the joint back.
Shout out Pain too, man.
Plies do his thing to it. But, Mike Karen says, let's see what the other artists can do to it.
Okay.
So Plies, I hear Plies, and I'm like, ooh, it's crazy.
We didn't know Plies then.
Yeah, no, but I knew.
No, I didn't know it yet.
6 months prior to that, meeting him at S-Line, ironically.
Okay.
I
Wow.
met him, before he even did his deal, and I was like, man, we gonna meet again. I'm gonna change your life. I always tell artists, I'm gonna change your life.
Say that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 6 months later, we actually got a situation with the record. He gets it, and he called me like, man, what you think I should do? You know what I mean? And that's the other side of Drumma Boy. A lot of people don't really see
The composer.
But it's the guidance, the game.
That's right.
And saying, shit, fuck it, nigga, I hit the streets with you. What you want to do? We can leak this motherfucker and we can take over Miami.
That's right.
We can take over Fort
Fort Myers. Fort Myers. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, bam, record.
Real goon. I was fucking with Plies. When Plies dropped, I was really excited.
Plies put his street team on it, this and that. He started doing interviews, Next thing you know, it's one of the hottest records in
It was on every mixtape.
In Florida.
Yeah.
So at that time, that was when the pressure was on the label for them to say, hey, hey, Drumma Boy, we need this record. I get a call from Atlantic. And that night with Fiend turned into a song deal with Atlantic Record.
With you.
Yeah.
So in the business of music, song deals are not as popular right now. But if you were able to get a song deal at one particular time or another years ago in the business, that means you was kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? So if you want to speak a little bit about a song deal and what something like that looked like with a major. If we don't have to get exact numbers, but give me roundabouts and what that looks like.
A song deal is basically a package deal or a wholesale price on beats.
Okay.
And that means they believe in you that I believe we can make some more hits. We made one with you, we can make some more.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So 5 beats instead of 20,000 a beat, they was getting 10,000 a beat.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
5, let's knock it out 50,000.
That's right.
Boom.
Got them in the hard drive.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we went on to do No Love.
Okay.
What Up, What's Happening Till.
That's right.
Shawty.
That's right.
What's in My Pocket, dog?
Yeah, Big Face Hundreds. Yeah,
We just
yeah.
knocking them out. And that's one thing about a deal. You got to do the work.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Even if you overperform or underperform.
Right.
You know, a lot of guys, you look like Chase.
Yeah.
He a wide receiver
Yeah,
for the Bengals.
of course.
He won his bread.
He
overperformed.
That's right.
Triple crime.
Pay me.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in them situations, you kind of tussle.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But luckily for me, I done had that situation. We was putting points on the board.
Sure.
And that's the dope thing about Atlantic. Mike Karen, Aaron Bay Shook, the whole Atlantic squad.
Yeah, it's a network.
They offer a lot of bonuses.
They do.
If you come through.
But you have to perform.
Yeah.
But you have to
gotta
perform.
But it's a lot of bonuses. Like, hey, we'll give you extra 20,000. You can do this shit.
See?
You know what I mean?
So in the placement game, how does like a lot of people don't know in the business, the placements and the sauce in the business of getting placements. You just spoke about a song deal, so a lot of
sauce
people,
of the placements is the relationship. Period. You know what I mean? I'm on Jeezy album because I know Jeezy. I can call Jeezy, he gonna pick up the phone. I can call Tip, he gonna pick up the phone. I can call, you know what I mean?
Those one-on-one relationships, because you learn to build those after you get put in the room.
Absolutely.
Right?
So it wasn't up to the A&R. It wasn't up to, you know what I mean? It was like, shit, this is my album, we done.
That's it.
This the album, you know what I mean?
And that became the death of a fake A&R, not a real one. You know what I mean? Like the A&Rs that just weren't, doing exactly what artists and repertoires do. So when they started chasing numbers, that didn't relate to you because you guys had such synergy. It was different.
The difference with me is I wouldn't even say it was the death of the A&R. It was like I work with the A&Rs, even if we on the same team.
Right.
So I can't shadow you or beneath you. I'm gonna look at you like my teammate. We all gonna get a ring. We all gonna get a plaque. You gonna still get your points.
That's right.
Even if you ain't do shit.
That's right.
The record was already done. You just turned it into your boss.
That's right.
You know even
the alley-oop is
and you helping me get paid quicker and da-da-da-da. You might bring me some more work, this and that. Like, man, it's good. Like, even a nigga who didn't play in the game got a ring.
Ain't no question.
So ain't nothing I can take away from it.
Place kicker that never kicked the ball, he got a ring. It's in the brand. And that's a part of the sauce right there. Just because I'm over here with this sauce,
I'm friends with the kicker.
Already.
Just like I'm friends with the quarterback.
That's right.
That's the difference in me.
So with that being said, I wanted to speak on like records like No Hands, 10 million sold, diamond rap record. Like what does that mean for the Drumma Boy from Memphis to right now? I'm just saying this one record, because do you even know how many records you sold? Have you done have sold a 90 million, 100 million? Do you know? Because I know how many records are out there.
What's crazy is I knew I was anointed.
Okay.
That's one word I think of.
Okay.
And Diamond, independently, no help, no collaboration, not an album, a single.
So how did that record come about?
That's clarification for me that I'm anointed.
So No Hands.
And it's you can take what's in your spirit, you can take what's out of your mind, what's in your mind, and release it in a form that is undeniable. So and luckily that's music and beats for me. For some people that's film.
Right.
Just this masterpiece film. For some people it's a book.
Right.
For some people it's their story.
Sure.
And how they package it and deliver it.
Sure, of course. So because you guys talk about packaging and delivering, I want to speak about you being one of the first producers that was actually turned himself into a brand, right? When I say a brand, other brands want to do business with brands. No brands, no fans. No fans, no brands. Drumma Boy was this. Drumma Boy is this. So let's speak a little bit about, other people have had alcohol, right? Just say they had their brands. Mm-hmm. But, you were one of the first, producers to collab with Grey Goose. Right, so can we speak a little bit about that? How did that come about?
Man, collaborations period came about them seeing me market myself, and it all started with flyers, T-shirts, putting flyers in every barbershop, nail salon. I'm printing up CDs and hitting all the malls, Mall of Memphis, Cordova, Wolf Chase, Raleigh. You know what I'm saying? I'm hitting Old Court.
Right.
I'm in Southland. I'm hitting everything. And when I came to Atlanta, I'm hitting Lenox. I learned about Greenbrier. I learned about North Lake and South Lake and bang, every mall that you can, you know what I mean? Of course. Cumberland, Perimeter, I'm everywhere.
Sure.
And that allowed me to meet a lot of people, read a lot of people.
Sure.
And then when I bumped into Ball and G, one of the first songs I did for them was "Give Me That Grey Goose and Put That Yak Back."
Okay.
And then if you listen to Pop That Pussy, Make Them Get That Money Right.
Get that money right.
Pastor Troy, that was one of the
sure.
first songs I did for Troy. He rapping about Goose. So mind you, I'm 19 at the time. I got one song with Grey Goose over here.
Right.
I got Grey Goose, Pastor Troy rapping about Grey Goose, and that's just what the players, you know what I'm saying, drink, you know what I'm saying, and it just elevated to something that I love personally.
Okay.
So I started drinking, and bam, started reaching out to the brands and showing them how much
this is what I'm doing. It's the influence,
and I got that support back.
Wow.
I started meeting the head.
Sure.
I started meeting, the top
CEO,
reps.
CFO,
Exactly.
reps. So going into that, headphones. Like there was Beats by Dre, but there was also, Drumma Boy also had some headphones too.
I ain't had no headphones. I was doing a
collaboration.
Okay. With what's the name of the company?
Yeah, I remember it was a collaboration with an audio company, right?
I can't even remember.
Yeah. But the reason why I speak on that part is because when you go from listen, I'm a producer, I'm a beatmaker, quote unquote, right? I'm coming from somewhere, right? I'm a producer, but I end up, turning into a composer, and Drumma Boy also executive wise as well too. But, the brand in itself, right? Like, what do you think is the contrast? Because when we listen to records like Shorty and we listen to, old Ball and G, we listen to, people sample a lot of records, right? So in the business of that, Gucci Man, for example, I think I love her. Just say, for example, that's one of your smashes as well too. Because I do want to talk about that relationship with WAP and how that, and how WAP sauce kind of blended with yours, pause to make, records like, to come out, in a space where it captivated Atlanta and you became, like, to my eyes, kind of the godfather when it came to making those records. But like, I think I love her. How do you feel about, like, even producers? They sample work. But how do you feel about them remaking the beat? And like, they might not be a producer that might know you, but do you think they do their research enough? For me, because you're legendary at this point, so people going and taking records that you've produced prior, you know what I'm saying? Like, how important is that? I want to, I kind of speak on that. Credit on top service and paperwork wise.
I'm flattered on samples. I get 50% of a lot of songs. You dig. I got 50% of You Dig when Lil Baby did You Dig.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right, I remember that.
The original You Dig is Jeezy.
That's right. Original You Dig is Jeezy, but Lil Baby sampled it, but you own the master, so they had to pay. They had to give you 50%.
Absolutely. So same thing with I Think I Love Her. Same thing with Photo Shoot. Same thing with any song that is 50% produced by me. Anything that's collab like Shorty, it would just split up.
Sure.
But we still getting 50%. The other 25 went to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Nice.
So that's the beautiful thing about having, Cannon joke about it all the time, having 50%ers.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, I did all the work,
That's
original.
Right. That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So I feel like Isaac Hayes, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Just how much I'm getting sampled. Isaac Hayes got to be like the most sampled producer out of me.
Shout out Third as well to Isaac Hayes and, his whole platform fan base is amazing. Big shout out Third and, big rest in peace to
my
Isaac
relationship
Hayes.
with WAP is, just, it's like when you real hooper, all you got to do is get on the court. Once that ball, you ain't complaining about the ball and nothing over air in the rim. We ain't got no nets in the rim. We outdoor. We on concrete. You don't hear none of that.
Facts.
It's just shit. What you do?
Facts.
Shit. I make beats. We playing pool. My nigga earlier asked me about pool. Me and Gucci playing pool, waiting on Big Cat to get out the office.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting on a check. He waiting on a check.
Right. Sure.
You know
sure,
what I mean?
Course,
I'm picking up a check for. I sold the original Standing Ovation beat to Big Cat.
Oh wow.
Young Sneed.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean?
I'm today years old when I learned that.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't know that.
I'm picking up that check.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And while we waiting on Big Cat, we playing pool. Gucci like, nigga, what you do? I say, I make beats, man. Drumma Boy. I'm from Memphis, man. Good to meet you. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, shit, play something. So while we playing pool, I pop in a beat CD. You know, it's a little boom box right there. I pop in CD. Next thing you know, he hears something. I tried to skip the beat because I was like, oh man, that's some LA shit.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And he tried to hit skip. He was like, no, play that back. First song we did, It's a Photo Shoot.
It's a photo shoot.
Down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. That's when I started to realize, like, man, you can't really pick and choose what beat to play for a nigga. You can know his sound and kind of, what you want to play for.
Right.
But you always, as a producer, got to play the other shit too, because you never know. Like, that was our first song.
So, like, pivoting, to, like, exciting things in Memphis, exciting things going on with you. I know there's a school. I was, hitting on the school, the Drumma Boy School of Music. Developing. And I heard of the amusement park. I remember at one time, it might be something in the rear view now, but at one particular time, you were getting ready to open up an amusement park in Memphis.
Yeah, it's needed, man. So we're trying to pull that off too. Okay,
amazing. Still, right? Okay. So tell me a little bit about the source of the school, Drumma Boy School of Music. I saw a couple of things on Instagram, but I want to kind of, I wanted to ask you about it personally.
Man, that's really just something I give game in a lot of different areas. So one being music business.
Nice.
Producers off the rip, 99% of producers do not copyright their music.
Speak on that. Copy the sources and the
send our
copyright and
music
ownership.
It's an email game. We emailing our beats to everywhere, and then we complaining about not getting paid, or we complaining about somebody running off, or we complaining about somebody stealing my beat, or we complaining about somebody making a beat like mine. I think he, you know what I mean? Why not copyright that? Bro, it's the cheapest thing to do before you do anything. It costs $40, man. You can goddamn put 100 beats on one joint and upload them all at a time and call it one album.
That's right. Call it one album.
You know
and
what I'm
copyrighting
saying?
40 at a time.
Yeah.
Look at the source of that right there. That was a little different right there. Just to give you the education, because, you know, we big on education over information. You know, information go in one ear and out the other. The education is going to stick to your ribs so you can actually spew it back. Yep. So I love, you know, the education in that. But go ahead.
And a part of that curriculum is being actually able to walk you through those things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because you can say that, and then people be like, okay, bet, da-da-da-da-da, but then they don't know the website, or they don't know to go to the Library of Congress. Sure. Or then when they get to the Library of Congress, they don't know what form. Okay. Do I do a PA form? Do I do an SR form? Because niggas ain't reading.
They not educated, they don't read.
Really read and break down what you need. Okay, this applies to me. Let me fill that form.
Absolutely
amazing. But sometimes you got to walk folks through the shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
well, you got to visually learn sometimes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And land. So that's one thing. Walking down, bam, music attorney, bam, walking down, okay, finding the right management, walking down, okay, which way do I distribute myself? Artists ask all the time, okay, we walk them through different options, da-da-da-da-da, the benefits, the pros, the cons, you know what I mean? And we got spreadsheets and database that's breaking all that down. And then after that, okay, creatively, what are you doing? What does the sound like? Are you able to do hooks? Do you need features?
Sure.
Or whatnot? Let's learn
records, not songs.
Vocally how to sing. Some people didn't know, and then they learned. You know, and they gained that asset. They gained that triple threat. You know what I mean? And then being able to film, record yourself, because it's a film business. Do you have the money for a cameraman to follow you every day? Okay, some don't. Amaretta do a good job.
Shout out Amaretta too.
You know what I mean? With her camera gang, I know a whole bunch of folks, man, who be fine with their own camera gang. You know what I mean? And then you get to the point, monetize your channels, and then get you a camera gang.
So with that being said, because we spoke about copyright, I know when we do co-pub deals, you know, as like me being manager, executive, and doing co-pub deals, or, you know, referring them to an admin deal. You know, you sold millions of records, made millions of dollars. You went through a bunch of different deals, you know, ran through them, recouped them, you know what I mean? Just from what I know, you know? And it's just for the public, like, right, that want to learn about the business, because we spoke on that. You know, co-publisher, like, do I do a co-publishing deal, or do I do an admin deal? If I'm a producer.
I never did a co-publishing deal. I did a publishing deal out the gate, and that was when I did Standing Ovation. Okay. And it's hard at 21, it's hard to turn down $150,000. Okay. And you know you're gonna do the work.
That's right.
See, that's the thing. Like, I'm not taking my 150 and I'm going and buying a chain and this and that. Woo, I took that 150. I went and got a crib in Stone Mountain. Okay. I brought my brother down here. Okay. In the same way, and I brought Swizzo down.
That's
here.
right. GK.
I bought a $15,000 Pro Tools rig, HD system, all of the Pro Tools gadgets and whatnot from my boy Bird. Okay. Who did the song on 50 Cent album? I forget that.
Which one? 21 Questions. PIMP. PIMP. Yeah,
my
big
boy
record.
Bird did
yeah,
that, so
record.
he was like, man, I got 3 Pro Tools systems, bro. I said you wanted mine for 15.
That's right.
It's 30 bands
already.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So bam, I got a Pro Tools system. Now I don't have to book another studio to dump beats.
That's right.
You
saving money there.
Studio. I gotta go to Patchwork. I gotta go to Music House.
Yeah.
You know,
shout out Patchworks, you know, as well too. Love Kurt and them over there. You know, that's family too. Right?
Absolutely. So I took that money and invested in myself. I got more flyers, I got more shirts, drum squad, and we painted the streets.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
That was
my
important.
City, one, welcome to my city. Two, welcome to my city. We invested in us.
Sure.
And focused on us and the artists that's coming out. Gotti was hot at the time, Volume 2. Dolph was hot at the time, Volume 3. Moneybag Yo hot at the time, you know what I'm saying? And multiple artists that support them. You know what I mean? So it's all about still feeding my city with my success and my fame. As I'm going to Paris and going to London and Japan. And
that's right.
I'm throwing up to him.
All day. Yeah, I see you in all the pictures.
Everywhere I go.
Yeah, for sure. 1,000,000%. So being global, like, you know, book, you know, author drum, you know what I mean, behind the hits, you know, really, really good read. I thought it was a lot of you in that book. You know, a lot of people use like all these different co-writers and stuff like that. Like I just felt like you sat with someone and they really like, you know, they lived with you. Like, you know, and when I was like reading the book, it kind of gave me a lot of you. You know what I mean? So like, speak about that. Another book coming? I mean, I know the book came out some time ago.
That book took 10 years. Yeah. I'm working on the audio version.
Okay, the drop on ebook.
Which
okay,
is
audio book.
Dope, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm putting a whole nother experience into that, so to speak, with music, scoring, and me speaking every word live as opposed to AI. You know, they trying to get me to go and do the AI thing, so it's taking some time, but it's coming out.
How you feel about that? How you feel about what type of sauce you think AI brings to the music?
I mean, it save a lot of time, but it's still gonna be a different read if I'm reading it live. That's like if you interview my AI version of me. It'll probably be very knowledgeable of certain stuff, but it ain't gonna break down like them hidden gems, them secret compartments. It ain't finna give you the shortcut, you know what I mean, and still put you up on game on why not you should take that shortcut.
So in a space like, you know, we've all been up, we've been down, we've saved and blown bread. You know, give me one of your worst financial mistakes that you might have made, you know, coming up throughout the business. A lot of guys get money, you know, they get $1 million and they fuck it off. So
not paying my taxes.
Right. Okay, not paying your taxes. Talk about that a little bit.
Simple. 9 years, man, my bill got up to probably like $550.
Okay.
550,000.
Yeah, for sure. At one time, you didn't want to happen, man.
Bam, I just started doing research. Calling different tax guys and getting advice and I get to this one tax guy through Squeak.
Sure.
Again, having management, man.
Shout out Squeak as well too. Shout out Squeak is Drumma Boy manager. Been his manager is a different thing about having the same, you know, players on your team for the tenure of your squad. You know what I mean? So shout out Squeak for sure. Solid.
Yep. So I was like, man, I need a lawyer to help me, you know what I'm saying, get out this jam. Cause obviously I could pay them.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But
because Lil Baby spoke on the tax issue, you know what I mean, as well too. So, you know.
So you don't want to, that's a chunk, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. I started talking to the tax guy, and he said, you know, it's a thing called offering compromise, where you can offer a grand total,
a settlement,
and they either say yay or nay. You know what I mean? Like, look, I can't pay $550,
but I can give you $185. I can give you $210 or something.
I got $187 right here.
That's right. You want it or not? You want it or not? You want it or not? You know what I mean? You want it or not? Of course they took it. That's like a bill collector calling you. You know what I mean? You kidding me? You know, it's like a bill. Listen, but that's like a bill collector calling you, right? At the end of the day, they saying, hey, listen, man, your bill's $8,500. Listen, man, I don't have $8,500. I got $6,200. The IRS gonna work the same way as the business, and it's also, you know, it's literally not so much loopholes, but I think that it's more so the lack of education that we have, you know, with us being in a space of business of music. Because at one point you was in the music business, now you're in the business of music for the last, you know, decade, because you're learning. I mean, you don't get, you know, billboards and top 10 hits and things of that nature, and actually being able to earn from them and educate on them without first making sure that you're set up correctly.
Absolutely. So moving forward, we moved all our LLCs into S Corps, and bam, 15%, man, payroll, and just scale the business. Now we need. It's so many people that I was paying through Cash App, paying through Zelle.
That was the wrong way. I remember when you started writing checks.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember that. As I come in the house,
checkbook
always out. Always out. Yeah.
So, you know, get the payroll going. Get everybody and then they can work that out with which route they want to go, whether W-2, W-9.
Sure. Now, you know, also a couple of different endeavors that the Sauce has brought you to, not just, you know, alcohol, not just, you know, electronics, but also in the space of fashion too, right? Like, you know, you had a boutique, got an online boutique. You want to talk a little bit about the House of Fresh?
House of
Fresh,
man.
Idea and everything.
One of my first jobs was just a feet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Selling shoes. And when I got to Just a Feet, they put me in the combat zone where they sell the bullshit. Like the $15, $20, $30, like the Bobos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's where they put you at.
Yep. And I sold out within like the first 4 or 5 days. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, man, you do good here, we'll move you to the shoe deck. You get to the shoe deck, everybody want Air Maxes and Air Force Ones and Jordans, so it ain't nothing but, hey, what size you want?
Yeah.
You got work.
Yeah.
And it was a competition because the number one seller would always win $500 extra.
Okay.
At the end
for
of
being
the
at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, so it was like the number one selling employee. So that was like a little push and motivation, inspiration. So, man, once I got to the shoe deck, probably like my 3rd month, I probably was number one 6-7 months straight.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Going crazy. Did that give you the motivation to do that?
Absolutely, because the thing about, as I graduated to the shoe deck, now not only am I selling shoes, but bro, you ain't gonna get no socks with that. Oh man, you gotta get the sneaker cleaner to clean them Jones, man. Ooh, boy, you need to get you a jacket, man. You might as well go and get the feet.
But that's the pitch. That's the power of the pitch. That's right.
And next thing you know, as opposed to spending 200, you spending 1,000. You spending 800. You see, but everybody come through me, I got them fresh. And how they feel is more important than how much you spend. Because if you feel good, you look good, you're gonna make more money, and that's that
Memphis. That's that Memphis shit.
Yeah, no, but it's for real. Like,
I love it. No.
I'm looking good. I'm finna go out here and get that money. You know what I'm saying?
Say that.
And if I'm grimy, I'm grungy, I'm still finna go get the money, but it's a different kind of money.
Sure, of course.
You know what I'm saying? There's different places. I can't go in the Four Seasons or Nobu and get that $1 million conversation.
Not yet.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm grimy.
Yeah, I'm grimy. Yeah, I look the part.
I'm over here in the trenches. Ridgecrest Apartments.
That's right.
And I can go pick up 5,000. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And I'm leaving. I'm in Chicago in the hundreds. I pick up 8,000 and I'm leaving. I done been in the trenches of the hoods of the hoods.
Picking up bags.
They let me leave.
Of course.
That's what fucked me up first time going to Chicago.
Really?
And Insane Wayne be like, man, I need you to come up here. Man, I ran out of beats. I need some beats, bro.
That's right.
And I go up there and that was the original Hood Rich. Mondo. KB.
Yeah, that was back in the Bogus Boy days, right?
Man, come on, bro.
Yeah, LFP Bogus Boys. That's like they was the original steppers. I mean back then.
Come on,
you know what I mean? Like it was a different thing.
12, 15,000. I'm down the road. My mom on the way home. I done been missing for about eight days waiting on Mono to come back from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit AI ain't gonna tell you. Right. AI
can't speak with spirit, or soul, or intentions, right? So like me and you played records before. We've been in the space plenty of times, but you know, there's Lotto records, there's Luda records, there's Kanye records, there's Wiz Khalifa records, because you know. Like what's up next too? Like you know that starts like just drumming. You can ready to go. I think you said you can ready to go to Paris or something.
Yeah, Paris Friday.
Yeah, Paris Friday.
Beat battle and meet and greet. You know what I'm saying? And some fashion. Meetings and whatnot. But you know, it's we global. You know? Connected Dexter Daps with
shout out Dexter Daps
Davido,
too.
You know
Davido. Shout out Dexter Daps.
I did a record called Scripture.
I saw the plaque over there, number 1.
Yeah.
Actually, the Scripture. Shout out Dexter Daps, him and his whole team. I met actually them through you. Yep. So you know they was amazing. So like from start to finish, right? Like to be honest, like if you can like educate a producer that's a young and upcoming producer, but all the way to my guys right now that's, you know, quote unquote hit makers, right? What would be your one piece, your one grain that you would kind of leave with them, you know, as far as a piece of advice when it came to money, when it came to the sauce you provide, when it came to your brand, all that's under one umbrella. You know what I mean?
I say this, man, value your time and spend it with somebody who gonna uplift you.
Okay.
Because time is short, you know what I mean?
Sure,
and I seen one of my favorite producers. I ain't never said this on camera.
Okay.
One of my favorite producers is Alchemist.
I love Al.
And
shout out Alchemist.
Seeing what and how 2 Chainz is appreciating Alchemist. Not only that, but giving him the power to put out a project.
Sure.
Get his money.
Sure.
And have his face seen. Nah, come on, perform with me. Everywhere we go, we're gonna go on a tour.
I seen that.
You know what I mean? We over here, woo, woo, woo. Yeah. Most of the interviews, I hear him talking more than anything. This is your spot. This is your, man, there's not enough artists that's doing that.
They're not. Shout out Alchemist too. A lot of y'all don't know if Alchemist comes from the Mobb Deep era. He was a guy from LA, moved to New York. So shout out Littles and, you know, of course, rest in peace, Prodigy. Big shout out to Havoc. You know, that was the whole crew when they had let this white boy come to New York and like really drop his sauce off. Like, oh, this old boy dope. We fucking with him. And then that was his start. Yeah, he's done so many big
highly
records.
respected. Yeah. His craft is serious. He humble and he connected
dope
to
rapper
his soul.
too. Dope rapper too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Connected to his soul, you know what I mean? So it's like, damn, it took 2 Chainz to do that. Like all the people you done worked with, Al, they should have been
uplifted.
Like this who, like, you know what I mean? Sure. And that's why you got to give credit to 2 Chainz, man. Like 2 Chainz don't get that enough.
So when you naming these artists like 2 Chainz, you did Ride, I'm getting it.
Absolutely. 2 Chainz slept in my condo down there for a month. You know what I'm saying? Every time he'd get fucked up on some lean, bro, let me stop through the condo.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Sober up a little bit. Yeah. We watching the game and in the studio right upstairs. Sure. So, but next thing you know, he done recorded the whole project.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, damn, Drum, I ain't even got you on that motherfucker.
Yeah, that's right. You tripping. Right, exactly.
I ended up doing, I walk in, then I turn up.
Yeah,
in, then
yeah,
I
turn up,
Turn up, we did Round, I'm Getting It.
Yeah,
I did,
that took off crazy.
Yeah.
Round, I'm Getting It. Yeah, that took off crazy.
I just call her boo. I don't know her whole name. Keep it on the low, man.
But see, that's the thing. That's the artist in you. No, but look, that's the artist in you. Like, that's the artist, the creative mind, and the genius in you. Why you able to go? I watched Jazzy Faye do the similar, and it's Memphis again. Yeah. You know, like when Jazzy's in the studio, he like you guys are similar, right? Like Jazzy gonna describe that record, he gonna dance that record, he gonna bop that record, he gonna give you the hook right then and then, give you the idea. So that's another thing that I think this, you know, the sauce that kind of the Drumma Boy provides is like, you gonna give person an idea. Listen, man, this is where I need to go. The cadence, the melody, and give up. You know, we've been in the studio hundreds of times, and you know, with other artists, and even Wayne, God bless the dead. I remember, you know, Squares Out Your Circle when he was with, you know, Rocco. We did that at 11th Street, and Future was in the studio, and Future just, you got people that's around you, and then, you know, Wayne started producing the beat, playing the keys right along with the melody. That was the first time I actually had seen that, you know, happen, like even in person. And then the record became Squares Out Your Circle, you know, for Rocco with Gino, you know what I mean? So that's a thing for me, you know, as far as the creative side, you know, are you there? Yeah, man, like, you know, but listen, I appreciate it, man. I think, you know, being in the space of you educating not only the youth, but people that's next to you on the left and the right of you is really important. I mean, I know we kick it every day, but I know it's a little different than, you know, the outreach, you being an educator, being a motivator, you being that role model. Because not for nothing, I mean, you know, you're a new father. You know, how's that? How's that been?
It's a blessing, man. It's a blessing, bro. Seeing a little you grow up and being able to see, you know, what you missed 1 through 5. Because none of us remember what was going on 1 through 5.
Sure, of course.
So to be able to relive it through him, I think that's the most precious. Yeah. And I'm in the house every day. I got everything all in one spot, so I ain't really got to leave. You know, and I get to see him every day. That's a blessing.
So like in closing, like with a producer that's worked with Whitney Houston, you know, Ross, just some notables, you know what I mean? Like, I can go down the list all day, even Tip, you know, people that we didn't even really name, you know, during our conversation here today. But, you know, I look back at all the records. I look back at all of the timeless classics, the Grammy Awards, the Oscar scenario. Like, it's just, producers aren't doing that, you know? And I think that there aren't enough of you teaching what's taught. So we have a lot of producers just learning off the computer, not having a mentor, not having that person they can actually look to say, hey, big bruh, this is what I need to get done. And big bruh is actually showing them the right way how to do shit. Not, you know, not like the shortcut. You take the shortcut, you get cut short. You know what I mean?
I think it's you know, everybody got their own route. I did this shit independent, man. You know, I'm one of the biggest brands, just right up there with niggas who signed the Interscope, with niggas who signed the Atlantic.
Talk about it.
With niggas who signed a Def Jam.
Talk about it, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I ain't never been signed to nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Drum
Outside
Squad.
of a pub deal or some shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So Drum Squad, we here. I'm gonna continue building this shit up.
That's right.
And I might be the next Def Jam.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Just build my own shit up.
Makes sense.
You know?
Man, make a lot of sense,
so you
man.
might want to holler before.
Price go up even more. You know what I'm saying? Because I promise you, things get a little different. I mean, when Put On For My City was going on, the phone wouldn't stop ringing with Jeezy. You know what I mean? And it made everybody, Here I Am came after that, right?
I feel like the only thing missing with Drumma Boy is attaching their artists. And a lot of people don't even realize, like, we had Young Blue.
Yeah.
Young Blue with Drum Squad.
Yeah, say that first.
You know what I'm saying?
First yes.
Before anything.
Right.
From 16, Go Ahead was one of the first records we put out. You know what I mean?
Right.
In that situation with the people who was behind him, it just didn't work out. He ended up bumping into Boosie. Boosie, my nigga, we love him. That's family. Well, I'm happy to see niggas win.
Sure, of course.
You know what I mean? So again, like, I put in a lot of the startup. If you need your car crunk up, I'm that nigga to get you goddamn, and that nigga's gone.
Yeah, but you also done Wiz Khalifa records like Bluffing. I remember when I was in Feds. You know, I ain't gonna hold you. The first time I heard your new tag. And everything was on the Bluffing record with Wiz Khalifa, and it blew my mind because the sound was just so you, but Wiz was just all over that motherfucker. How that record come about?
Man,
I always wanted to ask you that.
You know, working. That's one thing again about Atlantic, man. Hey, we got a new artist that we working with out of Pittsburgh. We want to get you in. Let's see what you guys come up with.
Okay.
And we established a relationship. G Shit was one of the first records we did live, funky. You know, and we was just high as hell, probably too high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then we circled back on another session, and again, we was high, but we was more like zoned in, like, okay, this is what we need to do.
Sure.
Type shit. And Bluffing was a classic.
Bluffing's a classic. Oh, you know,
But plugging people with shit is another part of, like, why niggas fuck with me too, cause even like
you're not a gatekeeper. You're not a gatekeper. You always
I've seen it like,
yeah.
man, I need Chris Brown. This ain't my record. I ain't do this beat, but I'm like, shit, Hood Boss, what going on? Hey, August Alsina trying to get Chris Brown on woo, and then bam, I do this shit, or I love this shit, or whatever the song was.
I Love It. I think that was the record. I Love It.
August Alsina, the first song. The remix got Chris Brown on it. So that was me.
You put that together.
Absolutely.
So
but Blessings come back, and then I do another record for August Alsina.
No
I ain't
love.
know Nicki was going to be on that record.
You didn't
it just
know.
happened like that.
And it went #1.
Come on, man. So, it's about blessing brothers, man, and making connections. If I got a plug over here and he got a plug over here, man, let's bring these two resources together. You switch it. Same thing with 2 Chainz. I was like, man, what you need, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, bet. Plug 2 Chainz with Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
What you need? All right, Dolph. Dolph coming out of Memphis. Gucci? All right, bet. I introduced Dolph to Gucci.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm going around, I introduced Dolph to 2 Chainz.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm taking Dolph everywhere. Like, man, you need to fuck with
I knew y'all was close though. That's why I met him through you.
Absolutely. So you know that when I believe in something,
yeah.
like that's another thing. It's like it I don't know. It just
so you know
energy.
You got a special relationship, not to like pivot to just the Ebony and Ivory side, but you got a special relationship with Gotti. You know, talk about that a little bit, because I know like his birthday parties. I mean everything. Like you always on the list. He always sent for you. Like you've done tons of records with him, like Live in the Kitchen. Like we go way back.
Yeah.
You know, like was that one of your first placements with Gotti?
Life album. I go back with Gotti all the way to I&E.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when I was working with Gotti, Dolph didn't even exist.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was the Don Diva magazine was still out back then. I remember seeing Gotti in the
like I met Gotti when I was 17. Dolph probably was Dolph even born?
I don't think so. I think Dolph might have been 9 years old by the time.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Dolph probably was like, how old was Dolph probably like 8 years behind me.
So I mean that would make
he
it.
probably would have been like
like
9,
22.
10.
So even 9, 10. Okay.
Yeah,
You been
so,
10 when what you call it now? Yeah.
My first Gotti days is I&E. I did 4 songs on Life album.
Okay.
And it's a lot of moments where them niggas came through for me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm on the way to Chicago one time, nigga. I ain't got no gas money. I got some nigga trying to buy some beats, hood rich.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Gotti had owed me some money for them beats on the Life album.
Yeah, sure.
It was about 500 a beat, so he owed me 2,000.
Okay.
And bam, I think he had already given me the 1,500.
Right.
Bills, I'm down to probably $100, and I'm like, man, I need that last 500.
Yeah.
Shit, meet me. Nah, matter of fact, I can't meet you, but my
yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
So that was my first time meeting Jook. It's like,
God bless his dead, rest in peace.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
500 ounce of weed. What? I'm on the way up to Chicago, young nigga with 500. I know I'm finna pick up an 8 piece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got weed to smoke. Like
Yeah.
it's just, you know, that's early
of
history,
course.
and just helping a nigga evolve.
Sure.
Evolve. If you from Memphis, man, I rep the whole city, not the half.
Say that.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if you doing something positive, I bumped into bro when I moved to Cordova, and I'm out in Cordova learning more about North Memphis, as I was on the north side of Memphis.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And playing basketball for different high schools. I mean, against different high schools. I played varsity basketball for Cordova High School. So I'm playing against Bartlett. I'm playing against Houston Levy. I'm playing against Bolton.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We playing against Germantown,
Right.
Ridgeway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm learning about I'm familiar with Hamilton.
Yeah.
I would have went to Hamilton or Whitehaven or, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So all of that, and they playing my beats at the warm-ups of the basketball game.
So yeah, everybody had a.
So
yeah.
that's my first time seeing females coming up with routines and different skits and dance routines to my beats. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And niggas just started hearing about a nigga. So that early Gotti phase was like the beginning of my career. When you see me shout it, pop, you call it, then you holler, that's what's up. Dolph fans rap their verse.
Wow.
You not gonna be from Memphis and not rap it.
Yeah. Facts.
Period.
Classic.
You know what I'm saying?
Classic.
So it's certain history. You can't take that shit away from me, man.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
When you go back, a lot of
Miss
people wasn't there.
Miss Mills got it, mama, and my mama cool. Like,
Right.
we
Yeah, for
got
sure.
pictures. My mama was cutting up in Privé,
Yeah.
dancing and all out of there.
Right,
and one of
right.
my, I think, 38th, 39th
Yeah,
birthday
birthday.
party. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
right.
I got positive memories and happy
Yeah.
memories about Memphis. People try to make it about the negative.
Right.
But in my mind, everything positive. I had good times with Gotti. I had good times with Dolph.
Sure, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of
and
course.
ain't nobody said shit to me.
That's right. Nah, not at all. You chosen one. You know, when it comes to that, like that's just different. That's
Same
early.
thing with Jeezy and Gucci.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because for you to turn around and like, you know, like with the whole 1017 scenario, right, and WAP, not even before 1017, just with WAP period, and just your lineage with him, and then make him hit records, and then go over here and they end up being, you know, whatever, having their differences, but you absolutely give this man a Grammy. You know what I mean? You know, when
the only way you get caught up in that type of shit to clear that is like, man, you rapping.
That's right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Like, cause imagine being cool with two niggas who was cool.
Yeah, sure, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and all I do is make beats. I'm the weed man. I'm the nigga who got it, man. You need it or not.
Yeah.
Type of shit.
But you met them separate though.
So I ain't never chose. He ain't never saw me wearing CMG chain or no I&E chain. But I always had Drum Squad. Yeah. Drum Squad.
Right. I rep me.
So I think folks who then chose.
Yeah, sure.
I'll stick to your decision.
Sure, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But mentally, I'm here for my brothers.
That's right.
Particularly my city. That's right. And that means the whole city.
That's right. Say that. Well, we love Memphis for sure. So old drum versus the new drum, because I remember the old drum, Bentley drum, you know, going and getting the drum. Like I remember that drum, you know what I mean? Like we know first checks coming in, a few $100,000, and like new drum, you know what I mean? Like, but that's right now is old drum, you know what I mean? The new drum that's right now over the past 3 or 4 years, like share something with us that you know they might not know, you know, over the past few years that you know. That comparison from old drum to new drum, better money decisions these years, you know, better choice of, you know, of circle sonics these years. Give me old drum versus new drum, you know, what's the difference between the two?
For one, I got a portfolio.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Talk about it.
New drum portfolio, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Having a few million just in real estate.
Sure, of course.
That's a blessing. And to see that grow.
Sure.
You know, just even having a
portfolio.
A healthy stock.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You know, grasp. And even in a situation of what's going on now, being able to withstand and be in a situation where you've invested in the right things that don't really take that hit.
Say that.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So life insurance, health insurance, drum.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? As well as I got a firm grasp on the family.
That's right. That's
you know
right. And what's going on with everybody.
Estate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Will.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's life insurance, everything. That's right.
Doing it the right way, so you know everybody can build.
Yeah.
As I.
Yeah, sure. And as you even evolve further, because I mean, you know, we start talking about author drum, film drum, not just producer drum. You know what I'm saying? Like brand drum, documentary. So that too. It was funny. I was talking to Dom a couple of weeks ago, and I know he was talking about the documentary, and then he was going back and forth to film, and you know, talk about it a little bit about that in the documentary.
Man, just telling my story. Like ain't nobody gonna tell your story like you, and then pulling facts.
Sure.
Period.
Okay.
Telling the exact timeline.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Chronological order.
Yeah, you can look it up and bam, and then getting tip support. You know, getting everybody's support, man. It's something that everybody like, nigga, when you need me, let me know.
That's right.
Like, you know
well, you've always had the best allies and the best relationships. I can't, you know, put that or negate that, because your relationships has always been even across the board. You know, I don't care who you calling, you always get them on the phone. They always pick up for you. They might be calling you. Like it's just, you know, it's just different. And I just think that your contrast between you and a lot of other producers that are out there, no name, no blame. Like not for nothing, they're not really brands, right? Like, you know, somebody that encompasses everything around the board. So I know you got some new artists too, like, you know, well, not new to you, but gonna be new to the world, like K-Dog. You know, I know you've been doing a lot of work with 24 Hours. Shout out 24 Hours.
Spark Dog.
Q Monte. Yeah.
Man, and we got a plethora of producers.
Sure.
It's about building folks up. Right now, I'm about building the right people up.
That's
right.
Understanding
their own hustle, understanding their own worth, understanding their own value.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Their skill set. And I'm putting those dots together. We got a tech team we're developing. We got a gaming company we're developing.
Nice.
We got a film department
Amazing.
we're developing. You know what I mean? And then
portfolio. That's all in the portfolio. Umbrella shit. You
absolutely,
feel me? That's right.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
And each thing is a new seed that's planted, but it's a passion.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Then we got the podcast, Beauty and the Beast podcast with Don Peace.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, shout out to Revolt as well and Don Peace. I know it's your co-host on that. Beauty and the Beats. Give me a little bit of that sauce and how that podcast differs in contrast to, you know, others that may be out there and what you guys will be talking about.
Man, I look at that interview like a live autobiography. And I was like, damn, that's an opportunity for me to learn more about people who I work with and people who I, you know, look up to or respect, you know. And it's so crazy that I was able to interview on our podcast people like Gangsta Boo.
Sure. Yeah, rest in peace, Gangsta Boo. Rest in peace, Gangsta Boo.
One of the last interviews, you know, to get one of Chucky Thompson, last
legendary
interview.
Chucky Thompson, legendary Hitman as well, Bad Boy, Faith Evans, the Biggie, all the way across the board and down the line. Chucky Thompson, legendary, rest in peace, for sure.
And the only reason we was able to work, Squeak, again, made that happen, but he came in town, we was able to work prior because he was in town.
Sure.
So we got to make beats together and all of that. And it's just amazing just seeing people's outlook.
Sure.
Different ways on how different people produce and get the job done. So it was a blessing being able to interview him as well as Angie Stone.
You know, Angie, man, you know, just to kind of, you know, and I hate that occurred because Angie Stone, Mahogany Soul is probably one of my favorite albums. But yeah, rest in peace to Angie Stone. And I know, you know, you having a chance to collab with her, you know, was like really
like
special
a mentor,
too.
my godmother.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
she on 8Ball and MJG album, so I gotta throw that in there. That's on the way. Ike and Barry.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Ike
and
Turner,
Barry.
Barry White. You know what I'm saying? So
Barry,
a crazy album. I'm super excited about that.
Man, listen. So is there anything upcoming that you want us to know about?
Man, Ball and G album, K-Dot, Spark Dog, Cumante, Drum Squad, Trap Music. We got the documentary coming. Stay tuned.
That's right.
Probably be 2026. But we kicking it, man. 2026, we got the FIFA.
That's right. No question.
So it's coming up. Looking forward. We got a couple gaming competitions.
Sure.
At Soul Play.
Sure.
Right on Ponce de Leon. You know what I'm saying? So stay tuned for that.
Hey man, it's love, man. Well, listen, I thank you for allowing me into the sanctum, man. I was gonna do I was looking through and I was like, man, bro, like you just got so many. They all on the floor in the other room. They everywhere. It's like, you know, that wall, that back wall is gonna be epic, man. But I appreciate you, man. You know, thank you for pulling up, man. It's another episode, Saw So Separately, Drumma Boy, the mogul Drumma Boy. You already know, Saw So Separately. Don't come on the tray, man. Produced by Manila 9. Another one coming at you, Mama say. You already. That way.